Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. Now, this week we're reviewing the sim2 titanium fairway wood. Specifically in this case was actually the Rocket, the 3 wood, which is 13.5 degrees, but obviously reviewing as a whole. Now, the reason I'm reviewing this week is I managed to pick this up for £90 on the second-hand market, so under £100. Now, we'll look at the cost across the board later on in the video, but I just thought what a great opportunity to get this club, try it for you guys, and then see if it's going to make it in my bag, replace my current 3 wood, or is it a really good deal? Even if you're paying an extra £30 or paying $150, etc., is it worth getting this? So yeah, so as always, let's have a closer look at the club. Then I'll talk about all the technology in here. Obviously, being Taylormade, there's always a lot of technology in these things. We'll get down to the driving range, give you some figures, and then we'll go through the ACS golf scale at the end of it. And remember, straight off the bat, if you enjoy this video and you're enjoying all the reviews of the second-hand clubs and newer clubs as well, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, guys. I've got some really great stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks, which you do not want to miss out on. So, there you go. Now, let's have a closer look at this bad boy. So there you go, a closer look at the club. And to be honest, it's a Taylormade club. They would make beautiful looking clubs. I mean, I know obviously now with the new Stealth, it's all black, but I really did like the sort of sim range and the M6, etc. And before that as well, I think even the M2 and everything like that, where they had the black carbon and the white. I thought this, it was a really good looking club. Not too great if you skied it, but really good looking club anyway. Now, let's get straight into the technology of this bad boy. So, first off, let's go into the size of it. So, with the sim2, this was released, by the way, in 2021. There was 3 models. So you had the sim titanium, which was adjustable, so 13.5 degrees, adjustment sleeve. There you go, where you could go up by 2 degrees either way. So you could loft this down to, if you wanted to, literally to 11.5 or just up to 15.5. By doing so, just a warning, if you adjust it up, that actually closes the club face, so it gives it more draw bias. If you loft it down, it actually opens the club face and gives it a more of a fade. So do be aware of that when it comes down to Taylormade. It's not necessarily like your Titleist, where you can literally adjust it up so degrees, and then you can adjust it sideways for the fade as well. So do be aware with that. But during the testing, I actually lofted this up to 15.5 degrees. I wanted to sort of match it more off with my current 3 wood. So the figures, when you get it, will be 15.5, which is quite interesting because I normally do sort of draw it to the left and maybe, let's be honest, hook it to the left. So even having the club face a little bit more closed was quite interesting, but I will show you the results of that in a second. Now, so there you go, the adjustability there. Now with the sim2, you had this, so the titanium, you had the max, which is their more sort of forgiving, no adjustability there, so nice and simple, does exactly what it says on the tin, sorry. And then you had the max sim2 max D, which is the draw bias one, where the club face was slightly closed, etc., to help with you if you had a slice. Now with this one, the titanium was actually quite a smaller head, so it's about 170 cc, which is the whole point of this. Is it was more of your sort of players model. So the idea, obviously, you got the loft there, and then if you want to be able to fade it or draw it, etc. This is sort of the more the club you went for, while the Sim Max was more just sort of straight absolute power and distance, and obviously the Sim D was the Max D, sorry, was the more forgiving, draw bias and anti-slice. So there you go. Now going into the technology, first bit, let's talk about the V steel technology. So I had here on all the clubs, so all the Sims, not the actual titanium bit, which is this, but they actually had the, that V sort of bit there. And the idea of the V technology was to reduce turf interaction and versatility, there you go, when combined with the ultra low center of gravity to make a long fairway metal. And also, And then moving on to it, you had with the sim2 titanium, you had the titanium, which had a reconfiguration heavy steel sole plate. There you go, which went along with a 10cc smaller size. So this is, like I said, was 170, while the Sim Max is 180. To move the central gravity further back in the head to increase the MOI, so more forgiveness. And you also have a weight here as well. Again, move some of the weight back from the front of the face to increase forgiveness. And then you had the technologies which you have in a lot of the clubs, where you had the twist face. There you go. They've still got that. The idea that the face twists and therefore helps if you're coming in at different angles and different sides of the head, different hits on the face, sorry, to the idea to keep it straight. So there's your twist face. One thing about a twist face, you either get on with it or you don't. I've watched a lot of reviews of sim clubs and obviously Taylormade with a twist face, and some people really do struggle with it. So when testing out these clubs, if you've never done a Taylormade before, do be aware of that. They can be really helpful and help, or it could create more problems, to be honest. And then we go back into basically, as we said there, the V's plate. We got that. Obviously, we've got carbon fiber on the crown, again, to save weight, so you can move it to the bottom of the club to increase MOI. And then finally, you have your speed pocket down here, which is supposed to help with obviously off-centered hits down the bottom to keep that ball speed up. Speed pockets been in Taylormade Club for years now, so there you go. So there's all the technology in this club. Loads packed into it, and yeah, and what you'd expect really from Taylormade. So there you go. Now let's get down to the range down at Sandown, throw some figures at you, and then we'll get back here and we'll discuss basically what I thought about this, put it through the ACS golf scale, and discuss if it should be going in my bag. So there you go. So here I am down at Sandown. Let's jump straight into those figures. So on average, total distance carried 197 yards, total distance 232 yards, ball speed 140 miles per hour, launch angle 9 degrees, and height 48 feet. Now, I was really impressed with this club, to be fair. I mean, my longest on the day was 146 miles per hour ball speed, the total distance of 248 yards. Now, let's be honest, it's only about 10 yards off my average drive and only about 4 miles per hour off my sort of average ball speed for a driver. So, really happy with this club, really rocket ship. I mean, I brought the averages down a bit with a bit of a sky ball where it came off right off the top of the club and only got 122 miles per hour ball speed there, and total distance only just around the 200 mark. So that wasn't great, but generally all the rest, to be fair, were around that 140 miles per hour ball speed, that 230 sort of total distance. So it was the club itself was actually really quite consistent, which is great. And the majority of my shots as well, as you see on this there, was coming out, sort of right to left, which is sort of my normal sort of shot. I do tend to pull it a bit to the left. So, I was impressed with the consistency of this club. So there you go. Really cracking performance there. I mean, to get the average of 232 yards total and getting the top one just under 150 yards, very happy with the performance. I found with this club, even though it's, I will say it's 15.5, it's only 0.5 more than my current 3-wood in the bag. It did pop the ball up really nicely in the air. And for someone like me who really sort of hits down on the ball, closes the club face, etc., it really did find that I was getting really good, had ball flight with it, which is obviously getting some decent carry. So I was very happy with that. Obviously that top hit there, where I hit it at the top, bit of a worry if you actually think about it a little bit more, because it did drop down quite a bit. But we'll get to the forgiveness of the club in a second. But overall, at the driving range, it was really a pleasure to hit. The sound was quite muted. It wasn't like a real crack in your face. When you hit it out in the middle, it did feel really powerful. But we'll talk about the forgiveness, because obviously if you don't hit it in the middle, it did feel a bit dead. I wasn't too sure it was going to get there. So there you go. But very, very happy with the figures of it. So yes, now talking of the figures, ACS golf scale. So we've got distance, feel, looks, price, and forgiveness. So let's get straight into the distance. So out of 5, remember, 5 being the best, 1 being the lowest. So the worst. I don't think I've done a 1 for anything. No, I haven't. So that's a good sign so far. The idea I'm supposed to be buying good stuff for you guys to test, not bad stuff that you should all avoid. So that's good. Now, even though I'm sure some of you with the night clubs I reviewed probably think they're bad, but hey ho, it is what it is. Now, so distance, and here we go. 4.5 out of 5. This is a monster. I mean, normally for me, I'd be hitting maybe the two, like I said, maybe the 230, between 220 and 230 is what I'd sort of want for fairway wood. Remember, this is lofted up to 15.5 as well, so it wasn't even the lowest loft. So obviously, if you lofted it down lower, the ball speed to increase, so maybe total distance probably would increase as well. Maybe not carry, but the total distance definitely would have. So it's a monster and it does fly. You know, that 248, that's sort of really on average sort of 10 yards less than my driver, sort of what I'd expect from my driver. Ball speed again, 146, that's 4 miles an hour off. I mean, absolute monster. This thing is great. I mean, really, if you're looking for a pure distance, I mean, obviously Taylormade is one of the top brands you think of, really. I mean, you think of Ping, more forgiveness, and then, you know, Callaway sort of in the middle range, and then Taylormade is the one you think, all right, big dog, you know, distance, distance, distance. So distance 4.5, awesome. You know, you can't say any more about that, really. It spoke about itself out at the driving range. Now, feel, I would say the feel 4. You know, again, it's a good club. It's a very expensive club, really, when it first came out. I really enjoyed hitting out the middle of the face. It felt lively out the middle, but if you did miss the middle, it did feel a bit dead. But out the middle felt lovely. You know, I feel like as well, if I wanted to try and shape the ball, I could as well with it. So I would say feel definitely 4 out of 5. Again, really good, solid club there. I mean, you know, we're getting up near the fives here. Looks, I've given it a 4 out of 5. I love the classic look of that from the sim. I really do, with the lines, you know, the blue, the little Taylormade. There you go, alignment aid, and then the white around. You know, I really do think it's a gorgeous looking club. Do I think the stealth, all black, is maybe more better? Possibly. That's why 4 and not a 5. But really classic look now from Taylormade for back in the day. I say back in the day, 2 years ago, but still lovely, perfect. Now, forgiveness. So forgiveness, remember, this isn't the forgiving model. Out of the 3, this is technically the least forgiving because that's what it is. So for me, the forgiveness is 3 out of 5. I thought the forgiveness, what it is really good, but you know, that top, off the top there, I hit really, you know, that did drop for 122. So on average, you know, 140, to lose 18 miles per hour ball speed, it, you know, shot up in the air as well, isn't great. To use 30 yards, forgiveness could be better, but then again, like I said, it's not a forgiving club. If you're looking for a club like this, then I'd be suggesting you're someone who's going to be hitting it relatively close to the middle, if not out the middle every time, and then perfect. So forgiveness is good for what it is, but it is 3 out of 5 because it's not aimed for forgiveness. It's aimed for distance, workability. That's what it's aimed for. So 3 out of 5 because for what it is, the forgiveness is good, but it's not a forgiving club. So there you go, 3 out of 5. Now the price of this. So the price, like I said, I got this for under £100. I got it for £90 off eBay, including delivery over here in the UK. Now that could be down to a few things. Number one, the guy didn't clean it. If you're selling clubs on eBay, secondhand market, make sure you clean them because it makes them look better and it makes people want them. You know, if it's dirty, people think the person has looked after it, etc., etc. So do that. So I got it for $90, £90, sorry. Now, if you're looking on eBay still, though, you know, you can get a rocket, other sales, sorry, on eBay. So another rocket, so 13.5 degrees. You know, I saw one for sale for £125, so that's $156. I saw a 3-wood sell for £100, so that's $125. Remember the 3-wood, you know, 15 degrees, you can loft it down to 13 to match this rocket. Yes, the club face does open a bit, but So you can actually make it into a rocket even if you wanted to. So there you go, all loft it up to 17, and then you pretty much got yourself, well, pretty much a 5 wood really. So you've got the versatility there to pick a point and then, to purchase it. So there, and then there was a 5 wood, was £147, and that's about $184 at the moment. Now, 5 wood is a lot more. I find nowadays, back in the day it used to be 3 wood, but nowadays there's a lot more 5 woods are the sort of the main thing that people go for. 5 wood in the bag's great, helps get in the air, get a bit more carry distance. So I'm not surprised that the 5 wood was going higher. Again, another 3 wood, £108, $135. So that's really not that bad, to be fair. I think if you're getting one of these for around the 120 mark, £100 between, let's say, £100 to 120, so $125 up to $150, $155. I think you got yourself a really good bargain. It is so solid across the board, as I mentioned. It looks good, it feels good, goes an absolute bomb. If you can get it for that price, then it's an absolute bargain, and I think it would probably be a 5 out of 5 when it comes down to price. But there is an issue. Now, obviously buying off eBay and buying it off, Facebook Marketplace is great. But if you go to a place like Golf Bidder or secondhand markets like Replay Golf in America, the price of these things is a lot more. And this is why I'm giving it 3 out of 5 and bringing that down, because Golf Bidder over here, the 3 wood, you're looking at £182. So you're looking at $230 roughly. So hold on, you're spending an extra 50, 60 quid to get it from a professional second-hand store. And then, I found one which was really not in that good state. It was £165, so $208. So 3 out of 5 for price, because if you can get it on eBay, you can probably get yourself a really good steal, especially if it's an auction, and it's well worth it. If you're going on to Golf Bidder, then you're looking at still quite a lot of money from this. This is 2021, so it is 2 years old now, and there's a lot of other options on there. I mean, if you go for a sim2 max, it's cheaper, but you get the same distance. You don't get the adjustability, but you get the same distance and probably a little bit more forgiveness as well. Well, you will get more forgiveness, sorry, as well. The Restriction ZX fairway, which are great. They go cheaper. Callaway Epic Speed you can get, which is even starting under £100, so $125. And then if you want to look at 2022, you can even pick up LTDX. So the Cobras from last year. I got the driver in the bag, and the fairway which are very good as well. Maybe not as point as the old Taylormade here, but was still very good, and they had the adjustability as well. So second-hand store, there's a lot of different options, but if you're looking on eBay, then yes, absolute steal. So overall, great across the board. Now, as I mentioned, we know who this is aimed for. The better players, I would say. Obviously, when it comes down to the less forgiveness on it, but it's still a very accessible club, and I think it's a great option for any of you guys if you're looking for a 3 wood or 5 wood or a rocket to replace that driver off the tee. It's a great option to go out and have a look. So do have a look for the Taylormade sim2 titanium or the Taylormade sim titanium. To be honest, very similar models, if not exactly the same. Let's be honest, not much has changed, but great option, really good club, really good performance, and an absolute steal for £90. Now, is it going to go in my bag? Don't get me wrong, this came with one of my favourite shafts, the Ventus Blue Stiff. I love these shafts. They obviously come with Taylormade, a lot of them. I love them. But will it go into my bag? Now, if you don't know, you haven't watched so far my channel, in my latest in the bag, I currently have this, the Tour Edge Exotic X 220 3 wood. Again, a Ventus shaft. Love them, absolutely do love them. Stiff, but non-adjustable, and it comes out a bit more of a low bullet. Now, putting these against each other, this goes further. Okay, forgiveness wise, probably a little bit more forgiveness in here, but got adjustability, good looks, pros for this. But it's not going to go in my bag. This is staying in my bag, and the main reason for it is I've taken this out on the golf course, and this is something for you guys to watch out for, especially when trying new clubs or second-hand clubs, etc. It could work like an absolute dream on the range, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out on the course. Yeah, don't ask me why. But I've tried lots of clubs now on the range and thought these are great, these are fantastic. Taking them out on the golf course, and I just can't get on with them. And unfortunately, this is what happened with this. Been in the bag for a while, and I just couldn't get on with it. And so this bad boy, my old trusty sort of club, is staying in there. And the reason for that is, 17 holes down, maybe haven't been playing very well, haven't used this at all. On the 18th tee, I just want to find a fairway. And I know I can pick that up and I can just smoke it down the fairway. Straight in the middle, 220 yards, 230 yards, extremely happy. So, unfortunately for me, this didn't work out, but it could work out for you guys. So do give it a try. Now, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the review of the Sim2 Titanium. As I mentioned before, do remember to subscribe to the channel, guys, because there's lots of cool stuff coming up. Got quite a few 2022 drivers reviews coming up because obviously in the second-hand market, they're coming in an absolute bargain. So keep an eye out for that coming up, as I've said already. And also remember to like this video if you do enjoy it, and comment down below. You know, do you play with a Taylormade fairway wood? Do you know if you tried the Sim2 Titanium, or perhaps you tried both the Sim2 Titanium and the Sim Max? 2 Max. Sorry, I'd love to know what your thoughts are about these clubs. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys next week.